The road to Scottish Summit starts here. This is the Power Platform Podcast. Join Rex de Koning, Ana Inés Urrutia de Sousa, and Paddy Byrne as they talk to the Microsoft community about their stories.
Hello everyone, welcome to this new edition or new chapter or new episode, I don't know, of the Power Platform Podcast. In this case, we're focusing on the preparation, the before of Scottish Summit 2024, and we have amazing guests. In this case, we have just one, but we have upcoming a lot of guests in the podcast, so that's pretty much it. I'm Anna, I'm an MVP, and I've been involved in the Scottish Summit for quite some time. So yeah, welcome. Who wants to go next?
Well, don't all speak at once, guys.
It sounds like you want to go next. Let's go to our guest. Let's go to our guest.
Let's go guest first. Praise before beauty, as they say. So my name's Gary Rafe. I am I'm a modern workplace solutions architect. I'm currently working for Aberdeen in the UK. So I spend my life talking about the joys of Power Platform, Copilot, Teams, and all the wonderful Microsoft technology. My passion is health tech. It's a bit of a different type of world, but I've spent a lot of time in health tech and healthcare IT. So yeah, that's probably one of my sessions has been submitted to Scottish Summit. So they all seem to be on the same theme. So anyway, so that's me.
Brilliant. I'm Paddy Byrne from just outside Glasgow. I'm current co-host of the Scottish Summit podcast. The Power Platform podcast. Which was a series based on Scottish Summit, the lead up to Scottish Summit.
I'm Rex de Koning. I'm also co-host on the podcast. I'll leave the name out of it. And I've been involved in Scottish Summit already for a couple of years now also. And lucky enough to be here again this year. All right, so Gary, let's start off, just jump in the deep end. Normally what we do with this podcast, we always start with an icebreaker.
Oh yes, it's a bit frosty here, so
we had to dig very deep, but we found out that you're doing rugby.
Oh really?
Is that true, or is it?
We hope it's right. Is that right?
I had an illustrious career in rugby, yeah, for a while.
A career as well. A career,
no,
not just
absolutely not. No, it was to the all amateur levels. And yes. Wow. Okay, that was some good digging. I'm quite impressed with that.
That was not the icebreaker. That was just for confirmation. Well, we're not that informed in rugby. So when we think of rugby, for some reason we think of the All Blacks.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
And well, you probably know what they do before every contest.
Yeah, a haka, obviously.
So we were wondering, can you do a short haka for us?
See, I don't think I've ever seen the haka.
See, I can't. There's a lot of just. I see. I've got headphones on now, but there's a lot of like this sort of stuff, and then die slapping, and then like this and like this. And then they stare at the end, and then they do a at the end of it like that. That's pretty much a haka. There's also a lot of grunting and
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask a question as well? Because we did do some digging. I've got again, it's not really icebreaker, it's just curiosity. But when you're not chasing around egg-shaped balls around the fields, you do you used to look after not eggs, but you used to look after chickens, didn't you?
Used to look after.
It's true.
Okay, so I started with 4. And then the day after I got them, one literally flew the coop because I didn't realize that you had to clip their wings. Seemingly, if you don't clip their wings, they can fly to a pretty decent height. So I spent a good, it must have been a good weekend building a whole chicken area to try and keep them away from foxes. And seemingly, if you don't clip the wings, they jump out over the coop. So that was on day 1. And then about probably 6 to 8 months later, I unfortunately lost another chicken. But this one, that one died of natural causes.
Oh.
Which, and to be fair, it's an interesting thing. I don't know if the viewers will know this, but chickens have a habit of getting egg bound. If you don't know what egg bound is, any takers? No, right. So basically, what it means is the chicken sometimes can get an egg stuck.
Right.
I don't know how far to go with this story, but I'm going to go anyway because you're listening now and you're all intrigued. Yeah. So the way, as a chicken owner, you relieve said chicken of its stuck egg is you have to get rather intimate. Yep. So I did this a couple of times, and unfortunately, the chicken once it happens once, it's likely to happen many times. And yes, it happened again. And I couldn't save it, and it died in my arms. It was very sad. And I had to go and then tell my then 5-year-old that one of the chickens has passed away, and he was in absolute tears for quite a while.
Of course.
So my illustrious career of chicken keeping, I now have 2. And they have, to be fair, they've been going for a good 3 or 4 years now. So there you go. So you asked that question. You didn't expect that answer, did you?
No.
So we've learned 2 things. We've learned about egg-bound chickens, and we've learned about flying chickens as well. So this happened when you moved, didn't it? This happened when you moved from West Midlands to London.
Yeah. No, the other way around. It's from London up into
London. That's it. I'm glad you corrected me there, because the first one that escaped. Why do you think it escaped?
Why do I think?
Why do you think it? Why do you think it decided to flee?
Probably because on the journey to my house, it probably saw the potential of the fields that are surrounding my house. So it decided that, you know what, it knew what was going to happen, and it just said, "I'm gone. I'm going to go live my best life in the fields around my house."
That's the wrong answer. That's the wrong answer.
Okay, sorry.
Just correct you there. It's because it missed Clockingham Palace.
Oh. Okay. Where's the hang up button? I can't be dealing with things like this.
Sorry. That's me done a bit now. I'm not going to make a habit of these bad jokes. We had a bad joke last time. For some reason, I just started to do it again.
Well, fair play, if it sticks.
Okay, so I've got another question for you. This is never serious. What does your day-to-day role involve? And when we say day-to-day role, your role as a professional, and also your role in the community. Do you do much community work or anything? Let me dig deeper into what Gary does.
What does Gary do? So Gary, I like to think I make magic out of computer systems, but in reality, I spend a lot of my time there's a few aspects. There's like the solutions architecture, which at Avanade is quite intense. Rightly so, to be fair, but you effectively obviously talking to customers, designing solutions. There's a bit of a commercial aspect to it as well, and the fact that you're actually trying to design not only the technical solution, but actually the team that's going to be needed to deliver it. So there's a lot of time and effort goes into thinking technically what it's going to do, what the people team is going to look like, what the approach is going to look like, outcome, benefits, all that sort of good stuff. So that's kind of what I spent most of my day doing when I'm not attached to projects. And obviously projects are delivery work, so there could be potentially technical delivery, it could be oversight, governance, all that sort of stuff. So it's quite varied, to be fair, which is kind of why I like solutions architecture, because I do still like to stay quite technically hands-on, if you see what I mean, as I'm sure most of you are aware. And it's a good role that you can be technical to a point, but then obviously you can bring other people into the team and get them to do specifics. So that's kind of pretty much what I spend most of my day doing when I'm not chasing children around after school. And then in sort of community side of things, to be fair, I could probably do more. I've kind of started my community journey. Obviously last year was Scottish Summit, and then obviously potentially this year. So I've sort of started doing things like blogging, post on LinkedIn, all that sort of stuff. The blog has been quite interesting, actually. It's one of the things that I'd love to do more, but finding the time to do it is obviously quite a challenge with, family, life, work, everything else. But when I do write articles, they're typically things that I've found interesting and things that I've picked up during work that actually they're typically challenge orientated, sort of things that I've come across and found a solution, and actually it's been a bit of a funny solution. So that's sort of quite a good topic to write about and obviously share, because that's obviously part of the community, is sharing what you've learned and helping others on the way. Because there's been so many times over the years in my career that I've used. I mean, everybody's heard the word of Googling, but I like to think of myself as a professional Googler, to be honest. It's certainly helped me out of a lot of sticky situations over the years, and just being able to provide a bit of knowledge back to the community is part of the reason why I did that. So
I think we've all been there. We're all professional Googlers. Do you ever find that you use your own blog as reference? You end up going back to your own blog article all the time, or you Google it and then I used to do YouTube videos, and I wouldn't look at, it was Canvas apps I started on, and then I wouldn't build on Canvas apps for maybe as long as years, and then I would Google how to do something on a Canvas app, and my video would come up on how to do it.
To be fair, if I get to the stage where I'm Googling and my own thing comes up, then I'm living the dream. But I don't quite know I've got that far yet. But to be fair, also part of the blogging stuff is, it is that sort of, memory bank of stuff that you've worked on, because typically you'll be working on projects and you'll find something that's really quite niche, and it'll solve a problem, but things work in patterns, and you'll probably find project 2 years down the road again, you might still be able to do what you kind of did then. So it's a bit of a way of obviously recording what you're doing and keeping a history of it. So maybe
I do think that is a way of an interesting way that we find for documenting, right? So it's I would say an elevated version of our documentation, let's say, with our own story, let's say, because we found an issue, and then in the product that we like or we work with, and then we document it in a way that is not the same as Microsoft Learn or Microsoft Documentation, but it's more geeky, I will say, or I don't know. I just really like it.
100%. And to be fair, I kind of have a slight creative angle. That's obviously why I got into Power Apps in the first place, because obviously it is quite creative way of building solutions, and it's kind of, I find that blogging is quite a free way of describing what you found, and it's not, the thing that I kind of like about all the community stuff is as well, it's not commercially driven, because obviously we spend our daily lives trying to make deals, find bids and all that sort of stuff, but actually the community stuff is literally about just the joy of playing with tech and trying to find and build cool stuff. So certainly the blogging for me is it's a bit of a creative outlet for otherwise stuff, just for the joy of playing with tech, really. So
Definitely, yeah. All right, so I think that you mentioned something that I wanted to dive deeper into. You mentioned that you started your journey in the community, and you mentioned Scottish Summit.
Yep.
So last year, I would like to know, how did you got into Scottish Summit last year? And we'll have a follow-up question later on. Yeah,
so it was, to be fair, through a couple of people that I worked with previously, they were involved with Scottish Summit, or they'd sort of talked to Scottish Summit before. And I was sort of, you talk to friends in the community and sort of say, oh, well, you should come and speak. You should come and speak. And it's like, I don't know if I can. And then you sort of do a little bit, and then they sort of push you a little bit. Then you go, oh, go on then. And then, to be fair, one of the guys I used to work with, Luke Evans, he said to me, look, well, you then spend some time thinking about what you're actually going to talk about, and something that's a bit of a passion area. And obviously for me, that was health tech, effectively, also potentially using Power Platform and some Azure services to create a bit of a health reporting solution. And he sort of said, look, I'll help you. I'll effectively jointly speak with you, so that you can it's not just you at the front of the room, which for me was a massive thing, actually, because I mean, if you talk to him, he'll basically say that I did all the talking anyway, but just having somebody else stood up there with you, just being, somebody that's kind of going to, chip in, and to be honest, just let you take a breath for 5 minutes, is really beneficial, I found. And it was really good. And obviously it was in Manchester at the time as well. So, it wasn't too far for me to travel. So, went along and met Rex as well.
Good.
And so it was great. I mean, as a conference, it was pretty much probably my first community conference in certainly speaking. So, but yeah, it was really good. So,
Good. Do you have any like story or funny story about that first Scottish Summit that you went to? Something that happened to you or that you saw? I met someone. It was so weird. Rex, you were there. Do you remember the closet? Luke was there. I met someone in a very weird situation, and that's going to stick in my head forever. So maybe you have
a lot of
something.
weird things.
I mean, the funniest thing that I found at Scottish Summit, which to me was funny anyway, was we'd obviously I'd done my talk, I think, at that point, and we were wandering around, and somebody said, "Oh, do you want to come and be on a video?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm buzzing. Why not? Let's do it." So literally went into the room, sat down, got interviewed. I thought gave a pretty good interview, and anyway, ended the interview. Came out the room and it was like, right, great, that's going to be online, it'll be a laugh, whatever. And then it turned out that somebody had forgotten to actually put the mic pack on me. So basically I was sat there in the dark, not saying I was talking, I was being interviewed. Nothing was recorded apart from the video.
Oh.
Why you're here today?
You've not seen the
like,
results of this recording yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming the audio is coming through now. If it's not, I'm just sitting there going. But yeah, basically, yeah, silent hackers. But anyway, so that was quite funny, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, the whole event was pretty cool, to be honest. It was a great way just to try and meet people and see what's going on, and as I say, take a first foray into speaking.
We've got some guests coming up. They're not in the recorders yet, who were key, pivotal in the organisation of that event as well. So looking forward to speak to them. So watch this space for that coming up, listeners.
All right, Gary, we talked about the Tales of Scottish Summit past. It's just like Christmas, so we're now going to talk to the current Scottish Summit. The speakers are not announced yet. Did you submit a session this year?
I did.
You did. So it's still fingers crossed.
I hope so.
So
otherwise, this plane ticket's going to get a bit.
We'll see what happens. But besides a potential session, do you have any other involvements again this year? I mean, I know the answer, but
yes. So I volunteered to be a volunteer.
Excellent.
And yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't volunteer to be a volunteer the last time I went, but I ended up helping out anyway. And actually, I was reflecting on this afterwards, and I was like, why did I do that? And to be fair, it was actually just quite a good way just to get involved. And the worst thing I find is just sitting there idly not doing anything, if you see what I mean. So actually, I think certainly in Manchester, I was on the front desks, sorting out all the lanyards and handing out jumpers and t-shirts.
We had fun doing that.
Oh, good.
I think that in a way is how we all got into community, right? So we go to a conference, we see that there's space for us to help, and we found our way with the right people to get involved in an area that we like.
Yeah,
so
100%. And
it's a natural path.
Yeah,
exactly. It all goes naturally. Normally, you just
you
jump in where it's needed.
What you put in at the end of these sort of things.
It's so easy to get caught up in all.
Yeah, you literally. I mean, you can rock up and just sit and listen to sessions, but for me, certainly the benefit came from the actual speaking to people and just getting involved, and everybody was so open and happy for you to help and chat and all that sort of stuff. It was well, obviously I volunteered again, so it was obviously worth it. But yeah, so that's probably what I'm obviously going to do in the next one. We'll see.
Well, we'll get back to you when it's close to October to see where we can put you this year.
Yeah, well, as I say, look, I'll happily sit on the door. Lanyards are my skill set now. I've added that to my CV, and handing out passes.
Well, that needs to be done again. So no promises, but
that's fine.
Now I know that, I'll put you on the list for it.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Awesome.
Okay, so So, what are you looking forward to most about Scottish Summit 2024 in Aberdeen? We're not obviously looking forward to speaking.
Yep.
But what are you looking forward to the most?
To be fair, I think obviously just, again, meeting everybody. I don't tend to get out and about a lot because I would do a lot of remote working. So actually probably meeting people face to face again and, just sitting, being able to just have a bit of a chit chat, see what's going on and see obviously what the common themes are running throughout the world and how that sort of hangs together. But I think, it's great to see lots of different ideas, obviously, about the application of similar tech, if you see what I mean. So obviously you kind of typically have one area maybe you focus on, or an industry or something like that, and actually it's quite good to see it from a lot of different perspectives. As I say, my background's public sector, healthcare type, but it's good to see if somebody comes in from something they've done in financial services or something like that. It's it's quite nice because there's a lot of potential for transfer of ways of working and all that sort of stuff. So that for me is probably one of the sort of benefits of actually going to things like this and chatting to people.
With so much on, how do you sort of decide what you're going to go to? How do you stay?
How do I? Well, that's a good question actually. To be fair, it's probably more based around the people, if you see what I mean, because obviously I've got quite an affinity towards Scottish Summit anyway, because it was like my first one I spoke at, and you sort of get to meet a lot of the people that sort of, are floating in around the organisation of it and stuff like that. I have applied to speak at other conferences off the back of Scottish Summit. Fortunately, I wasn't successful. They decided I wasn't good enough for whatever reason, so I won't take that personally. Won't be applying there again, but anyway, so it's not bitter at all, but yeah, so yeah, I mean that's probably what sort of you kind of go back to obviously the places because it's sort of know the people and all that sort of side of things and the approach and stuff as well, but yeah, I think between that and that's probably I think I'd say
because there is so much on. The reason I asked that question is because sometimes you mentioned going to a track that you've chosen technology, and I found that I would go with a plan in hand, and then I'd end up going to loads of different things, and then I miss all the ones that I want to go and see. It all got a bit out of control. Where I have found success with that is to go to tracks that I don't know anything about. So my second, well, it was the first Scottish Summit, it was my second conference. Was I decided just to go for soft skills. So I thought, forget the technology, just do soft skills today and sit on those sort of tracks. And another conference I went to, I thought I'm going to just do Azure today. I'm going to do certain aspects of Azure, something that I just don't know. Because if I say I'm going to go Power Platform or Dynamics, I end up sort of getting lost in it all. I end up missing all the stuff I want. So I find it quite fun just to do something different. And I encourage other people to maybe try that as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely, it's a great way to learn, and you can sit and read all the content and articles you want, but actually, it is quite nice just to sit there and be, explained to once in a while in terms of what people have done, and you only get that in, face-to-face conference type situations. To be fair, and maybe 10 minutes of relative peace when you've got two kids. And I can hear them screaming in the room next door. So actually, to go to a conference and sit there for a day and listen to a load of people talk, just adult talk is actually just, amazing.
So we'll let you get over to your kids very soon then. I'm
just listening for the high pitch of my wife when she suddenly gets all of a sudden a little bit, when it goes up a level. It's like, yeah. Let me go now.
So before Anna does the outros, do you want to give a shout out? Where can we get where can we read your blog, Gary?
That's a good question. That is a very good question, and you've put me on the spot now, and I've completely forgotten. Rafe.com.
It's fine with
simple.
A
That's simple. Rafe.com. I don't even know why that wasn't in my head.
So you're fine with a hacker, but you get stuck when you're talking about your surname.
Yeah, literally. This is how my brain works. Like literally, it's just so completely. It's like you ask me a simple question, I'll be like, what? But yeah, no, it's it's called Rafe Bytes, but it's Rafe.com. So it's I'm just decoding the ones and zeros behind cloud computing. Apparently, I came up with that title, so I'll go with that.
That's a very good title. That is,
It is, isn't it? So yeah, and there's a picture of my lovely mug on this page as well. Although thankfully it is AI generated. So, and I did have hair when that picture was done, also. So 40, yay.
Good. Do you also want to share any of your socials or with
To be fair, it's all on there. It's
perfect.
I've just got one place, get everything in it. Jump.
Yeah, find everything there. That's good.
Too many social networks nowadays. Just do your own website.
Great. So I have I don't know, you guys, if you have any question or anything you would like to talk, and if not, I will proceed.
No, we're fine.
I will proceed. So Rex, I have a question for you because last time it was my time to be in the spot. Now it's yours. What is the hashtag of Scottish Summit?
The hashtag of Scottish Summit for this year, it's hashtag Scottish Summit 2024.
Great. I didn't have that answer last time. For the people,
I like how you did that. You did that.
Yeah.
You didn't do it. For the people that are watching this recording, you have in the lower bar the link to the tickets, and if you don't, like this. And if you are not seeing the recording, you're listening, you can go to scottishsummit.com/forward. Is that how you say it? Or slash? Okay. Tickets, and you can find all the information there, and soon the agenda will be released, so I highly encourage everyone to keep an eye. And then if you would like to be with us in the podcast, you can also submit your interest in scottishsummit.com/podcast, and we will arrange something to have a lovely talk as we have today. So I don't think I'm missing anything. Am I missing anything, guys? I'm good? Great.
No,
I did a good job today.
Good to me.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
See you all next time.
The road to Scottish Summit starts here. This is the Power Platform Podcast. Join Rex de Koning, Ana Inés Urrutia de Sousa, and Paddy Byrne as they talk to the Microsoft community about their stories.